Good evening. Thank you for letting me read you a bedtime story. The Hidden Garden at the Edge of the World. You didn't expect anything in the mail today. No one really sends letters anymore. Most days it's just bills, catalogues, or the occasional flyer that makes it into the recycling without even being opened. But there it was, nestled in your letterbox like a secret. An envelope, unlike any other. The paper felt old, thicker than usual, a little worn at the edges, the kind of envelope that made a whispering sound when your fingers brushed against it. There was no name, no return address, just your own, written in faded black ink. The kind that feathered slightly, like it had been written with a fountain pen by someone who still cared about handwriting. Curious, you turned it over. The flap wasn't sealed, just tucked in, waiting patiently. You looked around for a moment. There was no one nearby. No delivery van idling at the curb. No footsteps retreating down the street. Just the quiet hum of the afternoon, as if the world was pausing to watch what you would do next. So you opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. No words, no letter, no explanation, just a map. Roughly sketched, faint lines crisscrossing yellowed parchment. A simple hand-drawn compass. Landmarks you didn't recognize. A path leading to something marked only by a simple symbol. A curved arch, what looked like ivy spilling over it. No place names, no coordinates. Just that little note scribbled in the bottom corner. It said, "Come find what the world forgot." You read it again, then a third time. You're not one for impulsivity. Usually, you like a plan, a schedule, at the very least a destination. But something about this map, about the way it showed up, felt less like a mystery and more like an invitation. So you did something you haven't done in a long time. You packed a bag. It was a quiet sort of day. Not too hot, not too cold. The kind of day where time stretches a little. You know, the air feels softer and everything moves just a little bit slower. You brought the basics, a jumper, some snacks, a notebook just in case you needed to jot something down, and of course, the map. You didn't really know what direction to head in, but somehow your feet seemed to know. It wasn't dramatic, this departure, no grand goodbye. Just you, spontaneously stepping out the front door and taking a left instead of a right. Sometimes that's all it takes. The first part of the walk felt familiar. You recognized the neighborhood, the cracked bit of pavement that always catches your shoe. The magnolia tree near the corner that blooms early, like it just can't wait for spring. But after a while, things started to change. Little by little, the city peeled away. The hum of traffic became bird song. The scent of exhaust faded, replaced by eucalyptus and the faint hint of jasmine drifting on the breeze. You passed through a gate you've never noticed before. Rusted, slightly leaning, almost swallowed by ivy. And on the other side, the path narrowed. Not a concrete walkway, but a soft earth underfoot. It felt like stepping into a forgotten corner of the world. You followed the path as it curved gently downhill, past twisted tree trunks and mossy stones. The more you walked, the quieter everything became. Even your thoughts seemed to slow down, like they were wrapped in wool. There was no rush here. No emails, no errands, just the sound of leaves crunching under your foot, and the occasional flutter of wings somewhere above. You passed an old bench that looked like no one had sat in it for years, and briefly imagined something else, maybe long, long ago. You passed an old bench that looked like no one had sat on it for years, and then you briefly imagined someone else, maybe long ago, following the same map, sitting there for a break, wondering the same things you were. What is this place? Why me? Why now? But there was no fear in the wondering, only curiosity. Eventually the forest began to change. The trees grew taller, darker, more ancient looking. Their bark was thick and twisted, like they'd seen more than they cared to tell. But instead of feeling eerie, it felt safe. Like the trees were guardians of a secret too precious to rush. The air here smelled different, earthier, cleaner. You took a deep breath and noticed how good it felt to breathe that deeply, that fully. When was the last time you've done that? Just breathed, without thinking, without any distraction, just in the moment. The wind picked up gently, brushing past your face like it somehow knew you and was trying to communicate with you. And somewhere in the distance, you thought you heard something. A soft hum like singing. Not quite music, not quite words, just a feeling carried by the breeze. You paused by a small stream, letting the water soothe your eyes. It wasn't rushing, it was just trickling, making its way through the stones, weaving like it had all the time in the world. You dipped your fingers in it and smiled at the coolness. Next to the stream was a tree with bark as white as bone. Tied to one of its branches was a piece of string holding a little bell. It jingled softly, like laughter held in cupped hands. Out of curiosity, you rang it once, just to see what it would do. Nothing happened. And yet, everything felt different. You looked at the map again. It was creased now, a little damp from your fingers. But somehow, it seemed clearer than before. Like it had always known you would end up here, by this tree, at this moment. There was just one path left to follow. A narrow trail, tucked between a fallen log, almost hidden by ferns. You stepped over the log. The trail sloped gently upward. And then you saw it. Up ahead, perched just before the edge of a cliff, stood a stone archway, exactly like the one from the map, overgrown with vines and tiny pink flowers. The stone was aged and cracked, but still standing strong, like it was waiting. As you moved closer, your breath caught in your throat, not from fear, but from a sense of quiet awe. The sky beyond the arch glowed with a strange golden light. It's almost like the world had bent the sun just for this special moment. You paused at this moment. No signs, no warnings, just silence. And that gentle hum again, almost like the garden on the other side was singing you forward. You didn't look back. You stepped through the arch. And now that you're through, behind you, the world you know, emails, alarms, deadlines, feels like a distant memory. Ahead of you, the air carries a different weight. Not heavy. Exactly. Just fuller. Like it's holding something sacred. You pause for a moment, letting your eyes adjust to the soft light. The forest here is different. The trees are taller, sure. Their trunks stretch impossibly high, like pillars holding up the sky. But it's more than that. There is a presence to this place. Each branch seems to bend with purpose. Each leaf turns slightly as you pass, as if it is listening. And maybe it is, because the moment you take your first step, you hear it. You hear it somewhere inside. A whisper. Not words. Not language. Just a soft, rustling hush that somehow makes your shoulders drop and your jaw unclench. You don't know how long you have been holding tension there, but the forest does. The path beneath your feet is mossy now, spongy and silent. Every step feels like a small exhale. You look up. The canopy above glows a soft emerald green, like sunlight is filtering through stained glass. Light flickers and dances on the forest floor, making it look like it's alive. To your right, a fern uncoils as you pass. It's not hurried or startled. It's just acknowledging you, maybe. The forest seems to know you are here. And stranger still, it seems to approve. As you walk deeper, you start to notice things. A tree stump, shaped almost perfectly, like an armchair. A mushroom ring that seems a little too symmetrical. A log with carvings on its bark, with unique symbols. Spirals and dots and arrows pointing towards nothing in particular. You stop for a moment and run your fingers along them, and the wood feels warm, not like a temperature warmth, like a memory warmth. You think of all the people who may have come through this forest before you. Maybe someone sat on that stump. Maybe someone else traced these carvings, wondering the same things you're wondering now, because you're not the first to come looking for the garden. But for some reason it still feels like it's meant just for you. Birdsong drifts through the trees, but it's not the kind you would hear back home. These calls are slower, deeper, like lullabies sung by feathered elders. At one point, a soft breeze picks up, brushing your hair and whispering against your skin. And the trees, they respond. You pause, unsure at first, but then you hear it again, a low rustle, rhythmic, like 1,000 voices all speaking at once. Not loud, not urgent, just present. You realize it is the leaves. They are whispering to you. And somehow, you understand. They're not giving instructions, they're not warning or guiding. They are welcoming. They know you are here. They've been waiting. You keep walking. After a while, you come across a small clearing. Soft, dappled light falling across a circle of stones. You sit, just for a moment. The air is still here, perfectly still, like the forest is holding its breath. So you decide to do the same. You sit in stillness and breathe in, then out. And with each breath, your mind starts to quiet. You've been carrying so much, so many thoughts that loop, so many worries that cling. But here, the silence does the heavy lifting for you. You just are. You close your eyes for a moment, and the ground beneath you feels like memory foam. Soft, supportive and ancient, like it was made for resting. When you open your eyes again, you notice something strange. There are glowing orbs floating gently through the air. Tiny ones, the size of snowflakes. They shimmer in the sunlight, drifting aimlessly. Or perhaps purposefully. Hold out your hand, and one settles on your palm. It's cool, it tingles slightly, then dissolves into your skin with a tiny spark. Not painful, just a flicker. And in that instant, you remember something you hadn't thought about in years. A small, random moment of joy. A walk as a kid. That perfect day when it rained and you danced in the rain. Or that time you laughed so hard your stomach hurt. You smile. The forest smiles back in its own way. You rise gently and continue walking. The path begins to slope upward, but your legs feel light. No heaviness, no fatigue, just forward motion. As you walk, the forest changes again. Now the trees are further apart. More sunlight streams in, casting golden rays across the trail. You catch glimpses of something ahead, something bright, flickering just out of reach. It's not anxiety pulling you forward, it's not even curiosity really. It's something softer than that. A feeling, a knowing, like you're exactly where you are supposed to be. Eventually, you hear water, a stream wider than the last one, babbling gently. You cross over a small wooden bridge, weathered out but sturdy, with vines coiled lazily along its rails. In the water below, you spot your reflection. It looks peaceful. You look peaceful. And you realize you haven't felt this calm in a long, long time. Just past the bridge is a tall tree with bark the color of ash. and leaves like silver coins. Beneath it is a stone marker carved with a simple shape. The same arch from the map. You've made it through the forest. And now, beyond this final bend, the garden awaits. You take one last breath of forest air. Earthy, sweet, alive. And with a quiet heart, you begin to walk towards the place the world forgot. The trees begin to thin, almost like they understand it's time to step aside. The path opens and the light begins to change. A subtle shift in tone, like the world is being dimmed with golden hour brushstrokes. You take a few more quiet steps forward, and then you see it. The cliff, the edge of the world. It is breathtaking. Breathtaking in a way that silences the mind. It is just perfect. Beyond the path is a vast expanse rolling all the way to the horizon. A gentle dip into a valley filled with mist, with soft hills that sway like sleeping giants under blankets of fog. There's no wind, no buzz, just the low, soothing hum of a place untouched by rush. And there, right in front of you, stands the archway, exactly like the one from the map. Stone, weathered, half covered in vines. Tiny white flowers cling to it like memories, blooming with no particular order, just existing. There's no door, no sign, just the feeling that this is a threshold between states of being. You walk a little closer, and the ground here is different. It feels so soft under your feet, springy and cool. You reach out and run your fingers along the stone. It's cool to the touch, but not cold. Solid, but gently humming like it remembers everyone who has ever arrived here. You notice the carvings on it now. The spirals, leaves, stars. No one symbol means anything on its own, but together they feel like a lullaby. And then, just beyond the archway, you catch your first glimpse. Wow. The garden. At first, it doesn't even seem real. It glows as if the sun itself has chosen this one patch of land to tuck into for the night. You can't see all of it yet, but what you can see is enough to make your heart flutter in that quiet, surprised way. Like when you catch the scent of someone you haven't seen in years. There's a tree with silver bark and leaves that twinkle gently in the breeze. A slow-moving stream winding its way through tall grass, like it has nowhere to be. Stone paths appear and disappear behind tall hedges, each curve teasing something new. It feels familiar, like you've dreamt about it before. Like part of you has always been trying to find it again. You step through the archway, and just like that, the air changes. It smells sweet, like nectar, rain, and something you can't quite name. Something like memory. You pause just inside, soaking it in. The garden stretches out before you like a landscape painting, done by someone in love. Nothing is too perfect. The grass grows freely. The trees lean lazily into one another. Flowers bloom in wild colors, sometimes in places they really shouldn't. It is alive, and every part of it seems to welcome you. You take your first few steps in. The moss beneath your feet cushions every movement. To your left, a vine curls playfully around an empty bench, as if it is inviting you to sit. To your right, a cluster of flowers tilts towards you. The petals are yawning open with a lazy grace. Everything here feels like it's no rush, like it's been waiting for you. And here you are. Begin to wonder, not with a goal, but with a sense of ease, like a feather being carried on a soft breeze. There's a wooden footbridge stretched out over the narrowest part of the stream. As you cross it, you glance down and notice tiny fish darting between the rocks. But not normal fish. These ones glow faintly, like they have been lit from within. You lean over the rail, watching them swirl, and notice your reflection again. This time, it looks different. Softer. Lighter. Like someone who has finally exhaled after holding their breath for far too long. You leave the bridge and follow a gently curving path. Each step feels like a lullaby in motion, like your feet are singing a song your heart remembers. You pass trees with bark as smooth as silk, and others with knotted trunks that seem to smile. One has a tiny door carved into it, not much bigger than your hand. You bend down and knock on it playfully and laugh quietly at yourself. The tree creaks slightly. You swear it chuckles back. Further on, you come to a small round clearing, ringed with flowers that shift colour from the light. In the centre, a stone circle. empty, peaceful. You step inside and stand still. And for a moment, time stops. The garden quiets. The wind pauses. Even the birds hold their breath. It's as if the garden is letting you know, this is your place now. You have arrived. You close your eyes. There's no pressure to do anything. No expectations. Just stillness. Gently wrapping around you like a familiar blanket. You feel your shoulders drop. Your breath begins to slow down, and you can feel it. Your whole body softens because the garden is giving it permission. A single flower petal drifts down from above, landing softly on your shoulder. You brush it away gently. You whisper thank you, not sure who you're thanking, but knowing it's the right thing to say. And somewhere nearby, a bell chimes once. Low, soft, perfect. You open your eyes again, and the garden continues to unfold before you. Paths still to wander, mysteries still to be met, stillness still to settle into. But for now, you take one more deep, easy breath. You continue walking deeper into the place the world forgot, and your soul remembered. The garden unfolds like a secret, whispered just for you. There's no map, no signs, and yet every path you take feels like it was just waiting for your footsteps. Every turn reveals something soft, strange, even something that hums in time with your breath. Each stone has a different pattern, almost like fingerprints. You find yourself stepping from one to the next, not out of necessity, but rhythm, like a quiet, delicate dance. To your left, a willow tree leans so far over the path, it creates a curtain of green. Its branches sway gently, even though there's no breeze. You part them slowly and step through. The air changes instantly. It's cooler here. It's more shaded. It smells of damp earth, wood, and something like honeysuckle. Underneath the willow, it's quieter than anywhere else in the garden. You can still hear the world, birds, water, wind, but it is softened. It's like someone's turned down the volume just enough for you to hear your own heartbeat. So you sit at the base of the tree. The bark is warm against your back, and the ground beneath you feels like a cushion. You run your fingers through the moss beside you. It's impossibly soft, like clouds pressed into velvet. You let your body rest. Just rest. Your spine lengthens. Your jaw loosens. Your hands fall into your lap. You take a deep breath in. And you breathe out. Time doesn't seem to matter here. You might stay for a minute or an hour, but either way, the garden doesn't mind. It has no expectations, just presence. After a while, you rise and continue along the path. You follow the sound of water, not rushing but trickling, like laughter heard from another room. The sound leads you to a small stream. Unlike the one from earlier, this one is narrower, and it is weaving between tall reeds and moss-covered stones. You notice there's a bench nearby, made from woven vines, alive and growing. It's sturdy beneath you when you sit. You dip your fingers into the stream. It is cooler than you expect, but not cold. The water flows around your hand like silk. You scoop a little and splash it on your face. It feels like it rinses more than your skin. It washes away something unseen, tension you didn't even know you were carrying. As you sit, a dragonfly lands on your knee. Its wings shimmer in the dappled light, catching every color imaginable. Sapphire, gold, emerald, and rose. It doesn't flinch, doesn't fly away. It just sits there, as if it knows you are safe. You watch it for a while, mesmerized by the delicate movements of its wings. And when it does lift off again, it hovers for a moment, as if bowing in thanks before disappearing into the reeds. You stand and continue on. The path opens into a wide circular meadow. Golden grass sways gently in waves, stirred by a breeze so soft it feels like a sigh. At the center of the field is a tree unlike any you have ever seen. The tree's trunk is wide and twisted with branches that stretch out like open arms. And instead of green leaves, it is covered in blossoms, peach, ivory, and blush pink. Some float gently down around you, spinning like sleepy stars. You approach it, and at the base of the tree, you find something unexpected. A journal, worn, leather-bound, and surprisingly dry. You pick it up and open it carefully. Inside, you find entries, dozens of them, written in different hands, different inks, different languages. But they all have one thing in common. They are quiet reflections, gratitudes, letting goes, wishes for peace. You flip through a few, feeling like you are reading the softest parts of strangers' hearts. Then, nestled between two pages, you find a blank sheet and a pencil. You sit beneath the tree, and without overthinking, you write. Maybe it's one sentence, maybe it's a whole page, but whatever it is, it comes from a part of you that needed to speak. You close the journal and you return it to its resting place. The tree seems to shimmer slightly as you do, like it's acknowledging your contribution. From there, the garden continues to open. You wander past oversized mushrooms that look like stepping stones, past flowers that hum when you get too close, past a grove of trees where the trunks lean together like they are sharing a secret. You come across a pond, still and mirror-like, surrounded by soft white lilies. The surface is so smooth, it reflects the sky perfectly, as if it were another world. You kneel beside it and look in. And yes, it is you, but softened, peaceful, a version of yourself that feels familiar and yet brand new. You smile, and the pond smiles back. You lie down in the grass beside it. It's a kind of grass that supports your body just right. Not too firm, not too soft, just enough to let you melt into it. Above you, the sky shifts from gold to violet. No harsh transitions, just gentle gradients, as if the sun and the moon are exchanging notes. Fireflies begin to blink on, one by one, dotting the air like quiet punctuation marks. You hear a distant melody again, this time closer, and you realize it is the garden itself, humming, singing, a lullaby for anyone who chooses to listen. And you do. You close your eyes. Let the notes wrap around you. Let your breath slow down. Let the garden carry you. There's so much more to explore. No rush. There's so much more peace to discover. For now, you feel like you want to rest. Because you finally can. The world outside will wait. Here in this secret space, this hidden garden at the edge of everything, here in this secret space, this hidden garden at the edge of everything. There is no should, no must, no need to be anything other than here. And here, you are safe. You are whole. You are home. The fireflies lead the way. The garden carries you now. With each step, the ground feels softer, like the earth itself has noticed how tired you are and is gently helping you along. You follow a path lined with glowing stones, warm beneath your feet. The light is dim now. The sky above has slipped into midnight blue, dusted with stars that blink like they're trying to stay awake for just a little longer. You let out a breath you didn't even know you were holding, and it feels good. Like you've arrived at the final page of a story, and it ends exactly how you hoped it would. Up ahead, nestled between a small grove of pear trees, is a clearing. It's quiet here. It is peaceful. The gentle kind of quiet that makes you feel held, as though even the stars are whispering, "You can rest now." And in the center of the clearing is a bed. The bed is part of a garden itself. It's not a normal bed. It is formed from soft moss and flowering vines, shaped perfectly for you. The headrest is made from curled ferns and tiny blossoms. The base is layered in petals and fresh spring grass, rising slightly to support your legs. It looks like a dream sculpted by the earth itself. You approach it slowly, reverently, with a sense of awe. You sit first, then lie back, and instantly everything lets go. The bed holds you like a lullaby. You sink into it with your thoughts, your breath, your worries. The moss cradles your shoulders. The petals beneath your back shift slightly to support the curve of your spine. It's like the garden has been watching you and knows exactly what you needed. You then take a deep breath and gently breathe out. You look above you and the stars begin to move slowly, gently, in wide, circular patterns. They trace stories in the sky, stories of kindness, of letting go, of becoming light. You feel yourself floating deeper, deeper into the garden, deeper into the quiet, deeper into that soft space where dreams begin. In the distance you hear the faint chime of a bell. The same tone you heard when you first arrived. It rings once and then fades into the wind. You smile with your eyes closed. Feels like the garden is tucking you in. Your limbs are heavy now. but it's a sweet heaviness. The kind that says, you have done enough. You are enough. You don't need to remember what time it is. You don't need to think about tomorrow. You don't need to figure anything out. Here in this garden, the world has stopped asking for anything. It just gives. Softness, stillness, sleep. You begin to drift. You notice your breath getting slower. Each inhale feels like a ripple. Each exhale a wave letting go. The garden breathes with you, matching your rhythms, cradling your stillness. There's nothing left to do now. You are here, in a garden hidden from the rest of the world, at the edge of everything, and at the center of peace. You can stay as long as you like. Maybe until tomorrow. Maybe until the stars whisper your name again. Maybe until your heart forgets what rushing ever felt like. But for now, you sleep. A true, needed rest. A letting go. A return. And as your final waking thoughts melt away, the garden leans in, wrapping you in its petals, its moss, its loving warmth, and whispers, you are safe, you are loved, and you are home.